Hi everyone, welcome to my language learning vlog. So I am currently studying 4 languages. That's right, 4 languages. They are Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Spanish. And why am I studying 4 languages at a time, and why am I studying these 4 specific languages? Let me answer the second question first. So the reason that I am studying these specific languages is due to various things that have happened in my life. So I think I've always wanted to speak another language, and I've taken years of classes in high school of Spanish, but I was not good at it. And then I took a class in college, I took Duolingo, and all these things didn't work, and I still could not speak any Spanish. I could maybe read a little bit based on my vocabulary, but I could not have a conversation. I could not understand anyone at all. And when I finished taking classes in grad school, that's when I realized I actually have time now to actually study a language. And after taking those classes, I also felt maybe a little bit bored and like I wanted that new challenge. So I realized this is the perfect time. I picked Chinese because Chinese was, a difficult language. I figured it would be sufficiently difficult enough for me based on I went from quantum mechanics to like studying Spanish. It feels like too much of a gap, so I might as well pick something a little harder. But also because I had a lot of Chinese friends, and I figured it was a great way where we can do things together. I can learn from them and chat with them every day to really improve my level and have them teach me. And that's the biggest reason I picked Chinese. But the interesting thing about studying a language is that as you learn, you have more reasons to keep learning because it gets more and more interesting. It's fun. You understand something and it's fun. And you start to become exposed to more and more of culture. And you start learning about the culture, and wow, this culture is so different than mine. They have different ways of thinking. They have different ways of seeing things. There's more content out there if you like shows and music and video games and TV, movies, all this other stuff. There's so much more that you can do. If you travel to that country, you can talk to people, you can understand the people, you can learn more about the food and all these other things. Like, the more you learn, the more reasons you have to keep learning. So I would advise anyone out there who's hesitating on studying a language, absolutely study a language. Even if you're not sure if you have the motivation will come as you like improve and as you start learning things. Trust me. So that's Chinese. And Japanese, I eventually start through on as well because, again, I like video games and anime and stuff like that. I'm a little bit interested in the culture, and I honestly think Japanese food is probably my favorite food out of any food in the world, other than like the simple steak and eggs sort of thing, like a proper human diet should be. If I'm going out to eat, most of the time I'll pick Japanese. And again, as you learn, you have more reasons to keep learning. I meet Japanese people, I make Japanese friends, and that just makes me that much more interested in the culture because we can have wonderful conversations. So much more of the world is opened up to me, and it's just an amazing experience. Eventually, I tacked on Spanish as well because after 1 year of studying Chinese, it was better than my whole history of studying Spanish. After more than 7, 10 years, whatever. And the reason for that is because of the method that I used to study called comprehensible input, which maybe I'll make a video on in the future. Today is just like kind of like a life update sort of thing. And then when I finished grad school and then came to the Bay Area, which is where I am right now, I started my job and they want me to travel to Korea fairly often in the future. Haven't gone yet. We'll go maybe another 6 months or a year or so, whenever they feel comfortable with my skills and I'm comfortable with my skills. And so I figured, all right, sure, I'll learn Korean too. Why not? Now, why am I studying all of them at the same time? Well, it's a hard question to answer. I don't really have a great justification other than I just want to be good at them all. Truthfully, I think it is most effective to take a deep dive into one language and to really try and get like a strong baseline and be good at it first. I think that is absolutely the most effective way because learning a language does take a big time commitment. It takes a lot of exposure and a lot of constant exposure, like throughout the day. I don't think it's best to just do one study session like in the morning or in the afternoon or whatever. It's better to do it like multiple times. A short session multiple times throughout the day, in my experience, is far more effective because it keeps it in your mind at all times. And when you are trying to study a language, you have to have that constant input so that you can remember those new words that you're learning, because it really is a whole big thing. And learning multiple languages just reduces the time you can spend on each language, and it really prevents you sometimes from getting in that. Sometimes it stops you from getting into that zone per se with a single language, Because I've had sessions in the past, like I remember, like I'm watching a video or a movie in Chinese, and maybe for the first 20 minutes, I don't really understand. I don't feel like I'm getting it. Like I'm kind of having a hard time paying attention. And suddenly, like, my brain's like starts waking up. It's like, okay, we're in Chinese mode. Like, go, 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 go. Got it. And like suddenly I start understanding things that much better. It's like this interesting phenomenon that I don't quite understand. And maybe it could be my imagination, but it maybe could be like the flow state, as they call it. And I feel like it's a bit harder to get that for each individual language whenever you're studying so many languages. I mean, there's all kinds of psychology studies out there about interference and how it's easier to focus on one thing or things that relate to each other rather than do all these kinds of different things. But on the other hand, there's also psychology studies out there that say that when you jump around between different things, it actually makes for better long-term memorization, because what happens is you have to recall something from out of nowhere, and so your brain starts strengthening those pathways, I guess, those neurological pathways to that thing, which makes it at your beck and call faster. So maybe there are hidden advantages to the fact that I'm doing this way. I don't know. Again, I think it's more effective to study one language at a time, but I want to be good at all of these languages, and I want to be good at all of them now. And beyond this, I have no plans to study any for more languages, because I want to start doing other things. I love studying languages, but this is enough. This is enough, and there's other things I got to do with my life. So, yeah, it is the new year today, January 1st, and I hope everyone has a wonderful new year. I think the last time I made vlogs was like sometime in the summer, like July, maybe August. And the reason it's been a long time is for multiple reasons. One, I got LASIK and I was recovering from surgery. Two, my work got really freaking busy. Like I was working like 14 hours a day for a long period of time through evenings and weekends and stuff. Yeah, that was not good. I hope work gets better in the future, because I want to study. I want my own life and more time to do things. But who knows what's going to happen in the future. But I do promise that from now on I will be more consistent. I'll try to put up at least one video a week of something. I don't know what it's going to be. Probably Korean, because that's the one where I can see the most obvious progress in. But who knows? All right. Happy New Year.